What's up guys, it's InfernoKun and welcome to my Q&A number 6 where I answer questions mostly about The Walking Dead or anything related to Telltale. Ask me any questions via this video and this video only or on Twitter using the hashtag AskInferno. So I wanted to do this kind of late last month, but then Tales kind of caught up to me with the release date and everything else, so here we go with the Q&A. So number 1 question coming from the 57 Lover asking, what is your least favorite episode from Season 2? Now for me, I guess it would have to be Episode 3. I felt that one was the weakest in the series. Now obviously I'm a fanboy. I love every single episode of The Walking Dead. Everyone. But if I had to choose, this one would be the weakest of the series. Now, I felt like everything was going like really fast in that episode. You know, Alvin being put away in Carver's office for the whole episode made me really mad. Like, I mean, there was a reason for it, but there wasn't at the same time. I wanted to see more of Alvin, but instead they locked him in a room, didn't have any kind of effect on the episode or anything like that, but he was just locked away. And also, Nick, if I can say so myself, you know, he didn't really do anything, which isn't really bothering me because I didn't like Nick in the first place. So, you know, I guess it would have to be Episode 3 for me. And then also he asked, who are you excited to see the most in Tales from the Borderlands? Definitely Tiny Tina and Maya the Siren. Those two characters, definitely Tiny Tina. Tiny Tina is crazy. She is awesome. I love her. And I definitely want to see a Siren. Maybe, you know, Maya or Lilith. That would be cool to see either one of them. And also, they have to add Tiny Tina. That would be amazing to have her in there. Not really sure where, but they gotta add her. Now moving on to the next question from this guy asking, if you could choose a female character from the Walking Dead game, not saying to be your girlfriend, who would it be? Well, I also found Shale to be a cool character from the Walking Dead 400 Days. She was a cool character, so probably her. And now moving on to the next question coming from Dazejak. Do you want Nick Brecken to return as head writer for Season 3, or should someone else take over? And if so, who should replace Brecken? Now, okay, so if you don't know, Nick Brecken wrote Episode 2 and 5. Those are my two favorite episodes in the whole entire season because Nick Brecken, I love him. He's a great writer for the series. He should definitely be head writer because he is the only one who actually kind of differentiates in the choices, like, you know, having Alvin die or Nick die or having both of them die was a branch in the story. That was pretty cool. And then in Episode 5, where you have all those endings plus all that stuff that happened in that episode was great. And then Episode 2 and 5 definitely did it right. Those were two great episodes in my opinion, and they were the best. So Nick Brecken should definitely, you know, be head writer of Season 3. He would definitely put the writers on the right track for actually having a more interesting storyline, and I don't think no one should, you know, replace him. He should stay at Telltale for the rest of his life if you're going to do that kind of writing. That was great. But moving on to this question coming from Blaze asking, what games do you recommend for me to play similar to Walking Dead games? Not really sure because I don't really know, you know, many games that give you a choice, but I'm going to say Tales from the Borderlands, Game of Thrones, and The Wolf Among Us, but you probably already know that because you probably follow Telltale. So, Far Cry 4, they do have a little choice thing once you get farther, well, a little bit into the game. You have choices between, you know, Amita and Sabal, so you can go ahead and get that. Or maybe Bioshock, they give you some choices sometimes, so definitely any of those games, of course. So moving on, coming from Aeon Magin asking, can you play Minecraft? No, just no. Anyway, moving on, next question coming from this guy asking, do you think Clementine will die very emotionally in Season 3 if she dies? I think it will be emotionally because Telltale, they're more about emotions with that game, and if Clementine were to die, she would definitely be dying very emotionally, sad music, you know, like you said, slow in the cutscene, yeah, slow motion and everything else. It would be the most tragic thing for people. It'll give you enough time to actually, you know, cry it out and make you feel sad, because that's what Telltale's good at. So, you know, I would definitely think they would do it very emotionally and slow and awful and heart-ripping way. So, moving on, next question coming from Devlin asking, Do you think that Kenny slash Jane will die or disappear at the beginning of season 3 because they are determinate? Definitely, I don't see Kenny or Jane hanging around too long because, the story isn't involved around them. Kenny obviously came back at the beginning of season 2, or yeah, beginning of season 2, and I don't really see them actually, staying around too long because they are determinate. Determinate characters are known for dying very, very soon, and maybe Telltale might actually, surprise us. What if Kenny or Jane survives until episode 2 or 3? That would be a surprise. So, for me, I think they both will probably die. Maybe they could die at different times or something like that. That's pretty different. So, probably. Moving on to a question coming from Jack again, asking, were you surprised by how much hate you got from some diehard Kenny fans when you picked Jane in your playthrough? I was not surprised at all because in my video you said, well, I said I'm gonna get so much hate for this or something like that, so many dislikes, and that's what happened, A lot of YouTubers got hate for picking Jane because people cannot accept opinions. People were like, you have to choose Kenny or you're a bad person, or I'll unsubscribe, I'll dislike your video, I'll report you, all that crazy stuff. That was just, crazy. I actually had a good laugh at a few comments, People were kind of like, defending Kenny, defending Jane. It was a whole lot of mess. I mean, I'm not gonna side with Jane, I'm not gonna side with Kenny. I'm just gonna pick who I want to pick who I think is right, make my own choices, and play how I want to play, and then go on about my business. I'm not gonna say Kenny's a bad person, Kenny should die. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say Jane's morally awesome, she's so nice and kind-hearted. I'm not gonna be like that. I'm gonna be like, Jane's a cool character, Kenny's a cool character. I chose Jane because I felt like it, because I felt like, it was the right choice for me. That's how I feel about that. But anyway, moving on to this question you asked. Do you think we will see Arvo and Mike in Season 3 since they took out the choice to kill Mike? Ain't no going back. Maybe. I think they might have a purpose for that. Like you said, they could bring him back, bringing both of them back in Season 3. I could really see it happen. But anyway, moving on. Which do you think is better, Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad? I really, really, really like Game of Thrones. It's something like, of course, really, really, really mature, really, the story is pretty damn interesting. I'm really liking how everything goes. Breaking Bad is still amazing, so I loved it. It ended off pretty well. Game of Thrones is still ongoing. Season 5 coming out soon, and probably a Season 6 if they actually have enough material for that. So, Game of Thrones still ongoing. Breaking Bad ended. Love Breaking Bad. It was an awesome series. I loved watching it. Game of Thrones, I loved watching that too. It was so much action, so much awesome story to it, and I just love it. So, Game of Thrones, I will give it basically a 10. Breaking Bad, I will give it a 9.9, Both of them are amazing series. But anyway, moving on to the next question asking, would you be happy if they do a large time skip in Season 3 where Clem is an adult and AJ is about Clem's age from Season 1 and you have to protect him like how Lee protected Clem in Season 1? I don't want Clem to be an adult personally. I want her to be a teenager, probably about, between the ages of 14 through 17. I want her to be like a full adult. I want her to, still like develop, like I want to see her develop as a teenager, go through what she's going through as a teenager, and then possibly as an adult later on. You know, I'm not really too fond with the whole redoing the protection thing. I know it can be different because, Clementine's been through so much. This is our first time seeing Clementine, But I mean, I wouldn't be mad about it. I still think it's cool, but I would prefer her to be between the mid teenage ages or something like that. So it would be awesome. It would be awesome either way, pretty much. So next question coming from Michaela, asking, what do you think about AJ? Do you think he will survive in Season 3? I really don't think he will survive because Telltale, they keep getting more heart grinding each and every game. And it's really, really making me fear that either Clementine will die or AJ, and it's really scaring me. So, I mean, I'm hoping he will survive, but I don't think so. Anyway, on to the next question coming from Russian Bear, asking, do you think Carver could have played a larger role Yeah, of course, definitely. Because like in episode 1, you were getting all hyped up like, oh, this Carver dude sounds horrible. He sounds like he's gonna be an awesome villain. He sounds so, awful. And then in episode 2, you meet him. You start hearing all these bad things about him. He's following you. And then at the end, he comes and he just, breaks your wheel and everything else. Episode 3, he treating you like a bad person, treating you so horrible, and he could have expanded that role. He was a great villain, really. He was a great villain. He had so much impact on everyone. He could have, been more of that throughout the whole season, but he ended off in episode 3. So yeah, I think he could have had a more bigger role as being, probably even bigger kind of dictator, in my opinion. So moving on, next question coming from Gohan asking, should there be a Walking Dead Telltales movie? No, this is a game. The game only works for me. I don't like movies. Well, I do like movies, certain movies, but I rather have control in my hand. I rather say what I want to say when I want to say it and choose what I want to choose. That's the point of Telltale games. They let you say what you want to say and choose what you want to choose. They tailor the story towards you, and a movie would basically just make it into the Walking Dead show. So, anyways, moving on. This question coming from Blue Paper Moon asking, what would you do if you chose Kenny or Jane and they both survive until the end, very end of The Walking Dead? Referring to that other question the guy asked about them actually dying at the beginning, that would be cool. Like, to have them actually survive until the end of season 3. That would be actually cool, kind of having a partner to be with you from the whole entire series, kind of like a Lee figure, but sometimes older now, so you'll not see her as being a little child anymore. Obviously, Kenny kind of looks at her like a little girl, but he kind of like getting the feeling that she's grown up, she's stronger now. Jane looks at her like a strong, survivor, and she wants to teach her everything she knows and be with her and just like kind of be a friend to her and everything else. So that's what, that could be awesome having it towards the end of season 3. And that question you asked, do you believe the game series will have a happy ending or a bad ending? Definitely a bad ending. There's no happy ending in The Walking Dead. Unfortunately, Robert Kirkman is evil. Anyway, moving on, next question coming from Creepercraft asking, who is your favorite character in Game of Thrones? And do you prefer the books or the show? My favorite character right now is Barreen or Tarth. My favorite male character would have to be Oberyn Martell. Unfortunately, stuff happened to him. And, he was awesome. I liked him a lot, but, stuff. And do I prefer the books or the show? I have not read the books. I do want to read the books, but they cost money, and money is something that I do not want to spend on books. So definitely the show. That sounds awful. Oh my god. Anyway, this question coming from Justin asking, do you think no matter what choice you make, you will end up in Wellington? I don't think so. I don't really know if they backtracked 9 days all the way back to Wellington, because Jane was like, we shouldn't really be at Wellington. We shouldn't really look for Wellington. So she went back to the house, and that's where she's at now. So what would be the point in going all the way back to Wellington? So I don't think so. And you asked, based on your thoughts or choices, how would you react to Lily being at Wellington in season 3? I'd be surprised, really. I mean, I know Lily did some bad things in the past, but hey, that happened a long time ago. I guess I could forgive her, kind of be a bit suspicious, but still forgive her. So I would kind of be pretty happy to see her back in season 3, because she's basically all we have left of all the memories of Lee, of Kenny, of Larry and all of them, Mark, everybody. She was a good person, kinda, and that would be the only bridge between all the people who have died in season 1. So it'd be cool to see Lily come back. Next one coming from JSRTV asking, what was your favorite game as a kid? Now I don't know because I have horrible memory, but I do remember loving the Dragon Ball Z, was it like Ultimate Budokai Tenkaichi 3 or 2? One of those. They were amazing. No, like the best anime fighting game I have ever played in my life. It was kind of like a open world fighting game. It wasn't really open world. It's kind of like a boxed world, open. You could fly around, you could hide and do stuff. It was so much to that game. You had a bunch of characters, a bunch of moves, a bunch of a lot of stuff in that game. I loved it. It was one of the best games I ever played back then on PS2, I believe. So it was amazing. I loved it. Next question asking, what melee would you want to see Clementine holding in Season 3, and would you expect a Season 2 DLC before the release of Season 3, or any ideas of that DLC? I would love to see her holding a katana or using a katana. That would be amazing because, you have far reach with that thing. It's sharp, slice a zombie's head clean off within a second. I mean, it's the perfect zombie survival weapon as long as they don't grab it from you. And as for the DLC, I don't think we'll see some. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. We probably will see some, but as for my ideas, I would love to see a DLC about the 400 Days characters, probably, where it began inside House, they built it up and everything else, and then how they left it, probably coming back to House, and then maybe if went with Jane, then you possibly meet the 400 Days characters in the future, and then it ends off right there or something like that. So I would think something that involves the 400 Days characters would be cool. Anyways, next one coming from the K3 Gamer asking, would you be surprised if Kenny was the protagonist like Lee and then Clementine was like an NPC and died? I would be very surprised if Kenny was the protagonist because he's dead for me. Yeah. Question from Fergus asking, will Christa return in Season 3? What do you think? Now, I lost hope in Christa coming back. Possibly. I don't see why she would not. That would absolutely be some shock value because as a character we lost for an entire season. An entire season. We lost her. She's gone. And what if she came back in Season 3, that would be amazing. So, I think we possibly could, but don't get your hopes up for it. Yeah. The next question coming from Hoxton asking quite a few questions. So, will you get a next-gen console before next autumn when all the new games are coming out? Now, as for that, I'm planning on getting a next-gen console for when Halo 5 comes out. That's all I want it for. I don't really care about anything else coming out because I can just get it on my PC. I do plan on getting like a graphics card update so I can actually handle those next gen games coming out. So next one asking, when do you think the Walking Dead Season 3 is gonna come out? Yeah, I'm thinking about, late fall or either early winter next year. That's what I'm thinking right now because, we had both Tales from the Borderlands and Game of Thrones kick off, so I won't be really thinking about any details until probably midway into next year or probably late next year until both Game of Thrones and Tales from the Borderlands are about to wrap up or anything else because, last year, of course, when Walking Dead Season 2 came out, all they had under them was, Wolf Among Us, so they had to work on those two games at the same time. And then, of course, now we have two games. So we're going from, two games that just started off, so we won't be seeing them probably until late next year. So, moving on to your next question, asking what games are you going to play after Borderlands pre-sequel? Will you get GTA 5 on PC and some survival type games or FPSs? I do probably plan on getting GTA 5 for PC, mostly because of the modding and stuff like that. I do really love open world games. Those are my, I really love them. There's so much to do in them, and they're really good, and I like them a lot. So, probably not many first-person shooters unless it's something really unique. I do happen to like pre-sequel a lot, so I will be doing probably some, let's plays of DLC when those drop, and more pre-sequel content. So, I'm not really sure right now what I see, but I'm looking forward to Arkham Knight coming out next summer. So, the question asking, do you think there were many characters wasted in The Walking Dead Season 2? I don't think that Luke and Bonnie were wasted that much. Definitely 430 characters, definitely Nick, definitely Sarah and Tavia and all them. But Luke had a good run, 5 episodes. Bonnie too, he lasted, a good 4 episodes. As long as they had a good run, actually had some meaning to the story, I don't think they're wasted, but Nick didn't do nothing for the whole season basically, and most of them were wasted because they didn't have much to the story. So so I'm going to answer right now. So moving on to the next question coming from Tom asking, do you think The Wolf Among Us season 2 will have something to do with how Narissa said the same thing as Faith before Faith died? There definitely has to be something up with that, because obviously Telltale will not abandon their cliffhanger right there, so there has to be some meaning to that. So I think that they will. And moving on, the question coming from George asking, Clementine or Carl, Kenny or Rick, Luke or Daryl? Clementine, Kenny, and Luke. I do not watch the show. I cannot get into it. It's just too boring. I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. I just can't get into it. But anyways, moving on. This last question coming from Mag asking, do you think Telltale could make a good game for a superhero slash supervillain? I don't think so. That has to be really fast paced, and I don't really see them actually doing anything with superheroes, because those are really meant for more, fighting aspects. It wouldn't be really good for a Telltale game. But anyways, moving on. Do you plan on doing collaborations with other YouTubers in the future? I would love to, but I just don't know what to do, or, how to collab. I need a tutorial. How do you collab? I mean, yeah, doing like Let's Plays together. I want to do something actually unique. I want to do some kind of, Telltale talking series between two people or something like that. I want to actually do something different than the usual Let's Play collab. So, depending on how opportunities come up, I will definitely love to do collaborations. So, that's pretty much it. If you guys did enjoy the video, leave a thumbs up. If you want a question on the next time, be sure to refer to what I said at the beginning. It has been InfernoKun with some questions. Be sure to ask me some good ones from this episode. I'll be taking questions about The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, and Tales from the Borderlands. All these Telltale stuff, mostly Telltale, or any question you have in mind. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'm out.